Hey everybody, welcome back to Legacy of Leaders here on Daily Ad Brief. I'm your host, Wayne Veldsman. Each week on Legacy of Leaders, we speak with change-making entrepreneurs and business professionals all about what it takes to lead. Today, I'm excited to introduce you all to John Horn of StubGroup. John, thanks for taking the time to be here.
Wayne, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I was checking out your website. Your tagline is online advertising made profitable. Tell us a little bit about what that means and what StubGroup does.
Absolutely. So at StubGroup, we focus in the digital advertising space, primarily, say, Google ads, Facebook ads, other pay-per-click channels. And we're working with all kinds of different clients to help them run profitable advertising that doesn't just drive eyeballs on ads, but actually brings in bottom line dollars. And so we do our best through those digital advertising platforms to acquire new customers and acquire valuable customers for our clients and hit their KPIs and help them grow their businesses.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know, in the digital marketing world, online advertising world, things move so fast. You have to pivot all the time. You have to instruct your team to be pivoting. So I'm curious, when it comes to leadership, how are you taking all that into account and making difficult leadership decisions, both big and small?
There are several, I think, key things there. One is always be asking questions of your team to understand where are their heads at and what are they thinking and why are they thinking what they're thinking. And when I say ask questions too, not just asking surface level questions, but then really digging in, kind of the rule of three is, okay, why, and try and get down to the roots of understanding your team and where they're at. Because I think it's very easy for leaders to make assumptions about what their team thinks or what their team is doing. And often that comes into play because as leaders, we have access to much more information and context than our team members do about maybe where the company is going or why we're making certain decisions that we are. And it's important to not simply assume that all that is translating into our team members' understanding of things, but really ask those questions, understand where they're at, and then give that context, give the why behind the directions that we're giving so that we're all on the same page and operating truly as a team.
Beautiful. Always be asking questions, ask why, tell why. So you mentioned the rule of three, why? Do you know where that comes from?
I'll be honest, I do not know the originator, but it's something I've come across, many times just working through recommendations, other leaders who've spoken into my life as mentors or, books I've been able to read, just that concept of the first answer that you get is usually not the whole story. And as you dig further and ask the question again in a different way or ask that follow-up question, that's where you really start to get into the roots or the weeds of things and figure out that true context that you're seeking to get from whoever you're asking that question of, whether that be a team member that you're leading or a client or a vendor, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Wonderful. Love that. I think it's some leadership book. I'll have to Google it and send out a link to everybody after this. But, I'm curious, you yourself, I read a lot of books, but how do you yourself go about sharpening your leadership skills and abilities?
Absolutely. So I think books are always a very helpful resource, especially for that, foundational principle side of things. But then also just being in the weeds and learning from other leaders is something that's been very helpful to me. So I have some mentors in my life who operate within our company and kind of an investor owner status, and who I'm able to go to with questions and thoughts and say, hey, how would you approach this situation? Or, when you had to deal with this type of situation, what was the result? I think really finding some mentors in the business leadership space who've been there and done that is something that is very important to any leader who is trying to improve their skills and work through specific situations with their team.
Beautiful. Learn from other leaders, find mentors. Wonderful. John, hey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and for sharing your knowledge.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. If you want to learn more about John and StubGroup, head on over to dailyadbrief.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Wayne Veldsman. You've been listening to Legacy of Leaders.